You know what? Maybe it didn't mean anything, but it still feels good to sweep Benedict Johnson.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, here we are, everybody. The final Sunday show of the season. Matt Dery with you, Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network after a Lions victory. Yes, Detroit wins in Chicago and sweeps the Bears. Touchdown Bears. 19-16 Detroit wins on a Sunday, January 4th and a Monday, January 5th. Welcome in. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for making us your first listen, everybody. Lions win it. A lot to get over, get over after what was a wild season. I nearly had to reach for the kicker list behind the old laptop here. But Jake Bates kicks a 42-yard field goal at the gun. And the Lions get a win in a game that meant nothing. They finished the season with a victory, snapping a 3-game losing streak. They end the year at 9-8. They will draft either 17 or 16 in the first round, depending on tonight's Steelers-Ravens winner. And if they would have lost this game, they would have drafted number 13. So they lost technically 3 or 4 spots. And we're going to hand out game balls. I want to talk about Kelvin Sheppard and the defense. I want to talk about some absolutely atrocious clock management. I want to go over the most important thing from today. But first, we got to start with just how everybody's feeling. I've been doing this podcast for 10 years. As you know, I've been hosting this show every day, and we're with you every day, and we're going to be with you every day this week, Monday through Friday, 5 shows a week. We're here. We're bringing you content. We're bringing you opinions. We're bringing you the news. We're bringing you interviews. I promise. I'm not going anywhere. And this season was a roller coaster. This season was a disappointment. The Lions failed this year, despite winning 9 games, despite for the 4th straight year now having a winning record. That's pretty darn good. All right, I don't want to mince words here, despite some of the butter that was oozing off of me after beating Ben Johnson. I loved it. I didn't think I'd get into this game. I said earlier in the week, I just didn't want them to play any of their starters, and I wanted everybody to rest. The game meant nothing. Nobody gets hurt. But as I kept watching the game and I saw the Lions jump out to a 16-0 lead and dominate the NFC North champs, the Gary Bears. They were dominant. The Lions, they had a kid. They had a 34-year-old right tackle named Chris Hubbard, who many of you probably went, wait a minute, who's that? Who's number 74 starting at right tackle? The Lions picked up Chris Hubbard, put him on the practice squad, elevated him this week. He was benched with the Browns like 6 years ago. He signed a big free agent contract with the Browns and got benched like 5-6 years ago. And he's jumped around from team to team, and he hadn't played in an NFL game in a couple of years. And he started at right tackle today for the injured Penei Sewell, and actually wasn't horrible. He wasn't good, but he wasn't horrible. But the Lions came in with this offensive line of Chris Hubbard and a banged-up Graham Glasgow. You could see Glasgow, how banged up he was today, and he played through it. And Taylor Decker, who might be playing in his last game, he was walking off the field today, and Jennifer Hammond from Fox 2 asked him about retirement, and he said he's going to take some time to think about it. Mahogany's not 100%. Ratledge is a rookie. Yet the Lions came in today and absolutely shoved the Bears right in the face to start the game. They were running the ball. They were using play action. They gave Jared Goff time. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 9 catches in the first half. 9 times. 9 catches in the first half. Finished with 11 for $139. And boy, was St. Brown just dominant today. He whipped C.J. Gardner-Johnson around like a rag doll. Number 35 can't guard 14. And number 35 starting at corner for a division winner is a joke. Gardner-Johnson sucks. And said when he left town, told Dave Burkett last year at the Super Bowl how the year with the Lions he had was hell and how J-Mo is better than St. Brown. He got his ass torched today. That was fun. Beating Ben Johnson was fun. Did you hear one of our everyday listeners, Drew Nickel, hit me up? and reminded me of this. Did you hear Aaron Andrews at halftime? They came out of the third quarter, and they go down to, let's send it down to Aaron. Burkhardt and Botox Man sent it down to Aaron Andrews. And Aaron Andrews says, Ben Johnson's not real happy. He said this was the easiest game plan and the most simple game plan of the year, and they're not executing it. What is that supposed to mean? They were playing some chop liver team? They were playing a team with Dawson and Pacey? I don't think so. Some of you might get that reference. This ain't Dawson's Creek. This is the Detroit Lions, who play with a lot of pride and purpose. The Lions had a lousy year for their standards. They underperformed. But Ben Johnson, oh yeah, this is an easy game plan. Yeah, well, guess what, buddy? You were shut out going into the fourth quarter. Now, to the Bears' credit, which is what they've done all year, they come back. This has been every Bears game since week 2 when the Lions shoved it. Straight up, you know where. The Bears play close games. The Bears win close games. Not today. Jake Bates kicks the game winner and the Lions win from 42 yards out, 19-16. The most important thing, though, today, nobody got hurt. Nobody very important got hurt. I saw Daniel Thomas leave the game. Jalen Mills was out there. At one point, when the Bears were making their run and trying to get back into the game, and did get back in the game, the Lions are farting around, stupid play calls, terrible clock management. You know, that 3rd and 1 fake with Montgomery trying to throw it back to Goff. Like, what are we doing? What was that? And you give the Bears the ball, they go right down the field because guys like Lacey, you're probably sitting there. Don't tell me you're not on your phone going, who's 78? Who's 94? Who's 13? Yeah, that would be Wingo, Lacey, Mills. Rodrigo's out there having to play because Anzalone wasn't out there. You had Nowoski playing I almost swore, crap ton of snaps. You got 3rd and 4th stringers out there. Lacey, another Brad Holmes beauty from this offseason. Or he signed him before week 1. Wheat and Lacey. Those were your big pickups on cutdown day. Neither did a damn thing. But the biggest point, let me go back to my original point because I'm all over the place here. Nobody got hurt. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't get hurt. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get hurt. Hutch didn't get hurt. Goff stayed upright, and he's one tough guy. And look, Jared Goff threw a terrible interception in the fourth quarter. Terrible. Terrible, as Charles Barkley would say. But the Lions survived it. They weathered it. They got to stop thanks to a Caleb Williams intentional grounding call. If the refs didn't call that intentional grounding, I was ready to literally get on this show and go ballistic on the officials. Caleb Williams is not that good. I'm sorry. And he might light up the playoffs. Maybe he throws for 300 yards next week against the Packers. Let's go Packers. I've never go Pack go. I've never been a bigger Packer fan in my life. I may jump on with Peter Bukowski this week. Please, Packers, end the Bears season. I'm tired of the Bears. The Lions shoved them around today. It was old Lions today. It was like Lions from a couple years ago. They were physical. Their defensive line played well. Tyleik Williams showed up today. Hey, we had a Tyleik sighting. Guys were there. I love the effort. Where was that the last few weeks? That's the thing. Like, you watch this game and you were so excited and you're watching your Lions and you're like, man, this sucks that they're not going to be in the playoffs. Because I got news for you. There's not a big gap between the number 1 seed in the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks, and the team picking 16th or 17th in the draft, your Detroit Lions. There's not a big gap there. We just saw the first place Bears get swept by the Lions. The Lions didn't win a single game of the division outside of beating good old Benny Boy twice. And anybody see the handshake Ben Johnson had with Dan after the game? Dan. That was a quick one. Ben wanted out of there because his mentor kicked his ass twice. Love that. I love that. I know the game meant nothing. I'm well aware of that. I saw some tweets today from some people in the Detroit media, which just made me sick. I like the Lions' identity and mentality, which is to win at all costs and to play hard no matter the situation. Jared Goff and St. Brown said that to Tom Rinaldi after the game on Fox. They said it. They said, our job is to go out and play. And these guys are all going to be back next year. A lot of these guys, same guys. We want to go out and win. And they did that. And I respect that. I'm glad nobody got hurt. All right. Coming up next, let's talk about Dan Campbell's decision-making. Also, Kelvin Sheppard had a message sent today. We'll do that coming up next right here on Locked On Lions. Lions win 19-16. All right, Sunday edition of Locked On Lions brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge. But with Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend, we got playoffs next week, and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never slows down. And Prize Picks lets you stay in control. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build lineups based on player projections. No drafts, no waiting, just pick more or less and play your way. Getting started on Prize Picks, it's quick and simple. The app is super easy to navigate. All right, you watch games and it makes it more engaging, especially when you follow individual player performances. If you had Jared Goff today throwing less than 2 touchdowns or something like that, or you had Jahmyr Gibbs rushing for over 100 yards, Jahmyr Gibbs today had 80 yards. You would have won if you would have bet less than on that player stat projection. Download the Prize Picks app today. Love our friends at Prize Picks. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, welcome back on Locked On Lions for this Sunday edition. Thank you for making Locked On Lions your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Now, if you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club, all right? You get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Lions, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. And you get an invite to our members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. All right. So I'm on there. We're chatting away today during the game, everything else. Go to lockedonlions.supercast.com. That's lockedonlions.supercast.com, or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. Please join us at our Everydayer Club. Shout out to all of our Everydayers. I love you all. I appreciate everybody that is with us, that has been with us. I had some of you hit me up today about the kicker list. Saw my guy Mike Vanderpool, Heart of a Lions fan. He had his live streaming going last night on Facebook. And was, like I said, mentioned Drew Nickel before, was talking to Joe and Chris today, my buddies who are always watching the Lions. My man Turner Batdorf hit me up. I got to give a shout out to my wife. She deals with this schedule and me doing 17 of these Sunday shows on our weekends together and everything else. And me taking my equipment on vacation. So kudos to my best friend, man. She is just the greatest. All right, back to the game. Lions win 19-16 today over the Bears, sweeping Chicago. But see, I wanted the Lions to beat the Bears and knock Chicago down to the 3 seed, so they had to play the Rams or the Niners. I'm rooting for the Packers. Green Bay is so banged up. No Micah Parsons, no Wyatt, no Tucker Kraft. But rivalry game, Green Bay knows they should have beaten the Bears the last time they played them at Soldier Field. This will be the 3rd time those two teams play in a month. That's amazing. That'll be a primetime night game. You got to figure. Lions win today 19-16. So the seeding is Seattle is the 1, Bears 2, Philly 3. I'm doing this off the top of my head. Carolina 4, the Rams 5, the Niners 6. And the Packers 7. So it's Bears hosting the Packers, Eagles hosting the Niners, and Carolina wins the NFC West despite losing yesterday. And so it's Panthers and Rams next week in the NFC. All right, Jared Goff today, 27 out of 42, 331, threw a touchdown pass to, of course, Jahmyr Gibbs, threw that terrible interception at the end of the game. was sacked twice. Cold weather Caleb Williams, 20 of 33, 212, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Avonte Maddox with a pick. But bring him back. He played well. And he was sacked once, pass rating of 86.9. Jahmyr Gibbs, 19 carries, 80 yards. Montgomery, 8 carries, 42 yards. Lions held the Bears to 65 yards rushing. Lions' run defense was much better today. Outgained the Bears on the ground, 122 to 65. St. Brown, 11 for 139. J-Mo, 6 for 74. Colston Loveland had a big game for the Bears, 10 for 91 yards, including a touchdown. That's a damn good first-round pick. Jack Campbell led the Lions with 11 tackles. And Detroit wins the game on a Jake Bates 42-yard field goal, 19 to 16. This game was not without some mistakes made by the head coach. And I'll tell you what, there's no bigger Dan Campbell fan than me. And Dan Campbell's not going anywhere. He's done a great job. He's not done a good job. He's done a great job here. He has. But next season, the Lions must, capital M, capital U, capital S, throw in another S, T, must hire an offensive coordinator that they trust, can call the plays, be creative, and allow Dan Campbell to run the game. Because I think him running the plays and everything, the Lions have been sloppy. Clock management's been sloppy. Timeout usage has been sloppy. The 3rd and 1 play call, 2.5 minutes to go. Lions have the ball. And they're driving. David Montgomery runs the ball on the left sideline and stays in and goes out of bounds. Dude, stay in bounds. Slide down. There's got to be communication. I know David Montgomery is a veteran player. So he goes out of bounds at 2.5 to go. Then on a 2nd and 1, the Bears, on purpose, jump off sides to give the Lions a first down. Because if the Lions just run another play on 2nd and 1, let's say Goff sneaks it, that'll run the clock down to the 2-minute warning unless the Bears use a timeout. The Bears jump off sides on purpose. Give the Lions a first down. Dan Campbell, you've got to decline the penalty. Decline it. Keep it at 2nd and 1. He doesn't decline it. Then the Lions start throwing the ball. Why? Throwing the ball. And on 3rd and 20, after a Goff miscommunication, but they called it intentional grounding, he throws an interception. Like, we didn't even get to the 2-minute warning, and the Bears had the ball. Now, luckily for the Lions, the defense stepped up. Caleb got called for a intentional grounding. Good pressure on that play. Bears had to punt. Lions got the ball. And guess what the Lions did that they should have done on the series before? Run the ball. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, running the ball. Then they get St. Brown open on a play-action pass. He does the rest. Jukes the defender. They run it a couple of times, and Bates hits from 42 yards out. But that's what they should have done on the previous possession. There's just some calls. Like, the Lions dominated today. It should not have come down to this at all. They were dominant. But settling for way too many field goals. Jake Bates today had what? 4? 4, yeah. 4 field goals, missed a 5th. Even at the end of the half, like the Lions' clock management, what? It didn't make sense. But Detroit won the game. Roy Kent, baby. The Lions won, and that's all that matters. Now, Kelvin Sheppard has been under fire, and I get why the Lions' defense has not been good over the last stretch of 4, 5, 6 games, or 6, 7 games. I had to do it. Sorry. Last week wasn't bad against Minnesota, but they were playing a junior varsity quarterback in Max Brosmer. This week, the Kelvin Sheppard defense stepped up. All right, we're talking the safeties of Avonte Maddox, Daniel Thomas, Jalen Mills had to be out there. You were missing the Gaines media poster boy himself, the flowing blonde locks of Alex Anzalone. He wasn't out there. No Aleem McNeil, whether Aleem's had a good year or not, he's not. He's still a very good player. He was out. And you're missing players. Yet this defense did a whale of a job today. Did a very good job. Held Caleb Williams to under 220 yards passing. Bears ran for just 65. In Chicago, the high-powered scoring offense themselves, who had won 6 of their first 7 home games, put up 16 points this week after putting up, a 38-burger last week in San Francisco. Kelvin Sheppard made a statement today that he can coach, and I think he should be back as defensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator, please hire somebody. Brian Daboll, somebody. Let's bring somebody in here because it's needed. All right, Lions over the Bears, 19-16. We got more coming up next, including game balls. My voice is cracking. I got the Sean McDonough cracking going. By the way, Sean McDonough won National Sportscaster of the Year. How good was he on that Ole Miss game the other night? He is so good. That's my guy. All right, folks. Locked On Lions is sponsored by BetterHelp. The new year doesn't require a new you, maybe just a less burdened you. We all carry things that weigh us down or hold us back, and therapy can help you identify what those things are by offering an unbiased perspective to better understand your relationships, motivations, and emotions. That's where BetterHelp comes in, making it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist who can help you work through what's holding you back. All right. Great thing about BetterHelp is they help with everything. The therapist can help you maybe with fear, pressure, perfection, or doubt that's maybe weighing you down. They got over 30,000 therapists and an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp has served over 5 million people globally, and it works. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at BetterHelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Again, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. All right, Matt Dery back with you, Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Lions finish in last place, tied with the Vikings at 9-8, yet had the best point differential in the division. Isn't that crazy? Crazy. Absolutely nuts when you talk about where this season was, how it went. The entire year was just bizarre, to say the least. The Lions will kick themselves for losing at home to Minnesota. They'll kick themselves for Thanksgiving Day against Green Bay and just everything else. I mentioned the draft order. The Lions are going to pick either 16th or 17th. I think if the Ravens lose tonight, the Lions pick 16th. The draft order right now is Raiders, Jets, Cardinals, Titans, Giants, Browns, and Commanders, top 7. So the Raiders have the #1 pick, and they'll likely have a new coach. AFC matchups, I mentioned NFC before. You'll have next weekend, LA Chargers and Harbaugh at the Patriots. Bills at Jaguars. Texans at either Pittsburgh or Baltimore based on tonight's result on Sunday Night Football. And neither of those two. Houston, I don't see how Baltimore or Pittsburgh, regardless of being at home, are going to score on that Houston defense. That Houston defense is damn good. Lions get a Jake Bates 42-yard field goal to win it, 19-16 over the Bears. Bates kicked 4 field goals today, and Jared Goff a touchdown pass to Jahmyr Gibbs. Lions they came out today with a purpose and played hard. Dan Campbell said after the game, the guys were pissed off after getting eliminated last week and everything else. And they played like it. They had 26 first downs to the Bears 16. They gained 433 yards to the genius Ben Johnson's 270. Time of possession dominated by the Lions, 35 minutes to 24 minutes. And the Lions committed just 6 penalties today. Game balls. Well, first and foremost, Amon-Ra St. Brown's getting a game ball. What a day for St. Brown. Heart and soul of the team, Jared Goff said after the game. 11 catches, 139 yards, targeted 15 times today. He was fantastic early in this game and absolutely torched former Lion Chauncey Gardner-Johnson all day. All day. He was fantastic. I'm giving game balls to both Graham Glasgow and Taylor Decker. If this was indeed their last games as Lions, they both played well. All right. Yes, I get it. Glasgow got beat on that stunt and and basically he sacked Jared Goff. And I know he didn't have a great year, but those guys have been playing through injuries, illnesses. Decker wanted to be out there today, and you could tell he helped set the tone. Taylor Decker, if this is it for him, and he said he will take some time after the game and the next few weeks, but 10 years starting at left tackle, he was a damn good football player and was a really, really big reason why the Lions turned this thing around. Decker and Glasgow get game balls from me. So does Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got to give a game ball to Avonte Maddox, who I thought played well. I get on the touchdown pass to Walker. He bit on that inside play and went short, shallow instead of deep on the crosser. But Avonte Maddox had an interception, and for the most part, over the past few weeks, has really stepped up and played well with the subtraction of Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. Jake Bates today, game ball, 4 made field goals, including the 42-yarder to win it. I know he missed from 53 at the end of the half, but Jake Bates gets a game ball for me. And Jack Campbell seems to get one every week, but this guy's just so good. So good. 11 tackles, 4 solo, a pass defended. He's all over the field. They got to sign him long-term. He was phenomenal today. All right. Lions sweep the Bears. Season is over. We will have much more to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, stay with us. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Do we have a John Morton fired tomorrow? Do we have some changes being announced tomorrow? When will Brad Holmes speak this week and talk about what was a disappointing season? And yes, I'm happy they won today. I like that they beat the Bears. In the grand scheme of things, we're also kicking ourselves as Lions fans because we're not in the tournament next week. And teams that are above them, and don't get me wrong, the NFC was strong this year, but the Lions hung with Philly and should have beaten them. Philly finished as the 3 seed. The Lions swept the Bears. The Bears finished as the 2 seed. Seattle's the number 1, and their quarterback is Sam Darnold. Are the Seahawks just that much better than the Lions? No. But Detroit has only itself to blame for how inconsistent they were this year and for some of the mistakes that were made by both the front office, coaching staff, and everything all around. But regardless, we can have fun with today that they hung on and won 19-16. Thanks for being with us. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.